Hello and welcome to the Nova Show Real Estate Records. My name is Tristan Hammett and I am your host for today's episode. And today I am thrilled to have Joey Sutorius, a managing partner known not only for his expertise but for cultivating an incredible team culture. Joey attracts like-minded, kind, and caring professionals who reflect his own values and passion for real estate. With a background in construction and brick masonry, Joey's unique perspective helps clients make informed decisions. After an injury led him to switch gears 10 years ago, Joey has become a trusted resource, leaving no stone unturned. Pun intended. A military combat vet and devoted family man, Joey's dedication is unmatched. So let's dive in and learn all about Joey today. Thanks
Hi.
for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I met Joey at a golf tournament with Women's Council. He was just so nice and I don't know, you have this warm energy about you and just, I don't know. So I called him and I remember you picked up and you were super sick. And
Oh yeah.
but you answered the phone. You were very sick and you could hear it in your voice, but you still picked up the phone. So that's a lot to say
That's
about
how we
you.
make
And you
money,
didn't
right?
know who I was or my phone number. So, and then we just kind of kept in touch over the couple of years, actually. So, Joey, tell us all about you. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? And then this really interesting story about how you got into real estate.
Well, it's funny because there was a break. We didn't see each other for a while, and then I moved in across the parking lot from you, and I was getting out of my car, and I heard this Joey, Joey, and I turned, and it was you, and I come walking over, and you had your
Oh my gosh.
you were talking to me, and you had your hand over your mouth, and I was like, "What's the deal with you're talking like that?" You're like, "Oh, I chipped my front tooth." It's a cute little chip front tooth. Yeah, you looked like the cable guy a little bit.
Hoping you didn't remember that.
Yeah, but what was the question again?
So tell us about yourself. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? And then your very fascinating story of how you got into real estate.
Okay. So I'm a Utah native. My parents actually both came out here from LA to play. My dad came out to play football at BYU. My mom came out on a field hockey scholarship of all things.
What?
I know.
That's pretty
Athletic
rad.
parents.
Your mom.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
they both got their teaching degree and ended up landing jobs in Central Utah at Juab High School, where they were teachers through the year. And then my dad was a brick mason, and we'd do odd masonry jobs all summer long to make ends meet. We were the prototypical massive family in Utah, doing odd jobs and whatnot to make ends meet. So, grew up in Central Utah, moved up here when my wife and I got married in 2006. I was laying brick at the time, and shortly after we got married, I also was in the Army National Guard. Shortly after we got married in 2007, I deployed to Iraq.
Wow. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. I always, whenever anybody thanks me for that, I always thank them for my low VA loan because it's awesome. I have a 2.5% interest rate on my loan. It's pretty great. Got back from Iraq, knee deep in a really bad recession, as you know. So it was tricky for a while. Picking up as much masonry work as I could. My wife and I were just doing kind of whatever we could do to get by. And in January of 2010, even though things were tight, I said, "Hey, I really feel like I should get my real estate license."
Oh.
And it's funny too, because when I remember when I was a kid, really young, saying I think I'll be a real estate agent. That'd be a good gig for me. And then I was 29 when I finally got my license, but got my license. And not even 2 weeks later, I was working on a chimney on this beautiful home in Cottonwood Heights, and the scaffolding gave away. I fell 3.5 stories and landed on my wrist, and it was my trowel hand. So, if you're a brick mason, your trowel hand's really important. And, the rest is history. Used kind of that space where I was injured. I got surgery on my wrist. It was shattered. And during that time where I was kind of healing and on workman's comp, I got all my schooling done and started slinging in fall of 2010.
Okay.
So.
Wow. And that big of a fall and you only shattered your wrist?
Yeah.
Or did you like...
Well, I kind of hit like, it's scaffolding, so I kind of hit a bunch of stuff on the way down. So I was pretty banged up and pretty scraped up. But yeah, I just kind of caught myself with my wrist, and I didn't even know it was broken. I thought I was okay, and then it was the next day that I was just like, man, I just can't, I can't grip anything, I can't squeeze anything, and whatnot. I better go get this checked out, and did, and of course it was broken in quite a few places. So they put some pins in it, and yeah.
Well, geez, then I'm really glad you're here, because it could have been a lot worse. Okay, so then that kind of pushed you to like dive into use your real estate license.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really had no other options, right? Like it had to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only thing I'd ever done is masonry work. And so I just thought that's what I would do my whole life. It was labor intensive, but I actually really enjoyed it for some weird reason. And so, yeah, I had no other option. There no education, no anything. You know, I hadn't sent maybe 10 emails in my life before I got into real estate. Yeah,
wow.
I was very old school. I would deliver my proposals like in person on paper when I was a brick mason and stuff. Like I didn't send emails. I didn't get online. I was like, yeah.
Well, yeah, you didn't need to.
I didn't need to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, for me, we were in a spot where like there was no other option but for this business to work. And so, man, I did everything that a new agent is supposed to do. Like I door knocked, I held open houses, I cold called, I sat floor time every day. Like every day I'd go into the office and just be on floor time. Like I was like, you know, anything I could do, I did it. And it wasn't until I think I'd been in for 4 or 5 months, I came up with this home tour concept that I called the Art and Architecture Tour, which I'm pretty sure I like blatantly stole that from. I think there's a magazine called the Art and Architecture.
Yeah, it sounds fancy. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I totally ripped that off. But there were all of these really like high-end homes at the time that were sitting vacant, not selling, right? This is 2010, you know. At this point, we're neck deep in the recession, right? And there were all of these big, beautiful homes that were just sitting and not selling. So I had this concept of reaching out to local artists and putting their artwork in these homes, and did a big home tour with it. And we had a few hundred people through, and I didn't sell one of the houses. I convinced these homeowners to just do like a single party kind of agreement where if I got a buyer through this event, they would pay me. But none of them were willing to sign a full-blown listing agreement with me. But at least I got kind of going, right?
Yeah.
And
thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I was so terrified at the time of doing something wrong. I was like, I'm just going to ask for forgiveness instead of permission. So I did all of this. I didn't dare ask my marketing department.
Oh my God.
I didn't dare to do anything because I was so afraid. I was like, oh, they're going to tell me I can't do this. And I've already done it. So like, I put quite a bit of money on my credit cards and was like, one of these houses is going to sell. I just know it. Mm-hmm. None of them sold, of course.
Okay.
But what happened was my audience that saw me get into real estate saw me doing something really cool and saw me hosting these events in these really cool properties. And then the phone started to ring. And so that was really awesome. So I think so
when you said they were seeing you, was this like on social media?
Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back in the day, I was on Facebook and I would put this out there and I was doing all this stuff. I was calling my SOI and letting them know what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Like that's, so I invited everybody to this event. I mean, everybody that I've ever known got an invitation to this event. Like it was extensive. And yeah, again, I didn't sell any of those $1 million properties that I held open, but the phone did start ringing and I started getting some people that wanted to buy houses with me. So my first 3 deals, I remember like they were yesterday. My first one was just a cute little townhome and it was $180,000. My second one was a $65,000 condo in Mill Creek that we sold on short sale for $35,000.
Wow.
Wow. 2-bedroom in Mill Creek for $35,000. And the commission on it was like, because it was a short sale, the banks can just say what they're going to pay you.
Yeah.
And this was back when we had to fax everything. It was 2011 at this time, but we're still like faxing everything. It was crazy. But, and then my third one was a floor time call in Tooele that was a bank-owned property that was like $80,000. And it was it was so thrilling to me, these deals.
Yeah.
And then I started, getting a little bit of momentum. And it's funny, I was with Coldwell Banker back then, and I won Rookie of the Year for 2011, my first full year in the business. And I think I made just north of $30,000 total for the year and won Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
Whereas like the last year I was at Coldwell Banker, their Rookie of the Year agent, I think, made like $180,000.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It was a much lower bar back in the day when I got in. But anyways, I just went to work and after I kind of got the ball rolling, it was off to the races. So
okay, so let's talk about when did you create prior to this new brokerage that you're with? When did you create this team with Molly? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I'm the type of agent that really loves to be in the office. I've always insisted that we have some sort of gaming table in whatever office I'm at, whether that be a pool table or shuffleboard, which is my favorite. And I just really love spending time in office, especially when, there's always those times where you're waiting desperately for a signature to come across before the deadline, or you're anxiously waiting for this or that. I like having kind of an outlet to go and do something. And I really love chatting with agents in the office. And, back when I started this tradition of kind of having a gaming table in the office, I'd kind of gotten going and had set a precedence, but I was still always asking questions to the senior agents in our office. And total legends, like, can I say?
You can say names.
Yeah. So like total legends like Liz Slager, Tracy Burton, Kevin Larson was my broker back in the day, Paula Shaw, Brian Klinger. I had these people that I absolutely looked up to and would just be in office hearing how they would handle negotiations, how they would handle conversations, how due diligence, everything. And I would always try to get them to hang out and do stuff with me. And it helped me with my nerves kind of waiting for a signature to come across the wire or whatever. So Molly came in a few years after I was in there, and she had a similar vibe where we loved being in the office. We loved kind of learning from these older agents, and we loved chatting with each other about what type of opportunities we had going on.
So you guys didn't meet until both of you had started real estate.
Correct.
Wow, because you guys seem like you probably like knew each other from like way back in the day, but
well, our relationship is weird. So at the time, I lived in a townhome in Holiday, and just happenstance, she moved into the unit next door. So we shared a wall.
What?
Yeah, and it was crazy. So we shared a wall, and it was only for a few months. We ended up selling that place and moving out. But yeah, Molly and I feel like have been kind of connected in some sort of way,
That is wild.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So she came in. We would just always talk about what buyers we had, what listings we had coming up, and we would do deals together.
Mm-hmm.
And it really started grassroots that way. So we found out we worked really well together. What I did well, Molly didn't, and what she did well, she's a numbers person, contract person. She's got her master's degree in real estate development. We joke between the two of us, we have 2 degrees and have ran 3 marathons, and she has all the degrees and I have all the marathons. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we just started doing deals together and found that we liked kind of working in office and doing stuff, and it just made sense to form a team. So we created a team together, and it rapidly became, a really big team, and we were in multiple offices. We had a part of our team was in southern Utah, and it just kind of blew up. And so we parlayed that momentum from having a big team of amazing agents into kind of this new opportunity where we had an opportunity to start our own brokerage. So
yes. Okay. So, and I really want to talk about cultivating like a good team culture, because I'm sure there's agents that may have left for this reason or that reason or whatever, but it seems like from an outsider looking in, you have a really tight knit group, and keeping agents is hard as a broker and as a team leader. And that's something that I think a lot of teams and brokerages struggle with, is keeping people in, making them, I don't know, instead of like recruiting constantly, like you just seem to find all these people that you really jive and mesh with. And I want to talk about the rules too at your new brokerage. I think it's awesome. Do you know all of them by heart?
No.
No.
I did. I mean, no. Don't put me on the spot.
Okay,
on this one.
Yeah. I do know one.
Well, that is the easiest thing to remember. Yeah. It's rule number 1.
Yeah, no a-holes.
Yeah.
So, and I just think that goes to say who all of you are.
Yeah.
There are no a-holes on your team.
It's kind of a genius, and this wasn't something that we created. This was these rules we bought into, and they're, it's kind of, we were already doing this stuff. Our people are so incredible, and we do feel like we attract, we don't recruit, we attract, and we let people know when we think they're doing really cool stuff and that when we think they'd be a good vibe. But ultimately, we do all support each other extremely well, and the system that we have requires that. Like, we are a high tide raises all boats mentality, and our, listing machines have to have the support in order for our system to work of the agents who want to be listing machines, and vice versa. And so, what we do everything together. Like, we have even our, we have a group in central Utah that's crushing down there. And there's a group of us going down today to door knock and help them with a premiere party. And so the way it works is, when we have an agent that takes on a listing, we have all of our up and coming agents go in and have the opportunity to go out and market themselves through these listings and create business for themselves off of them, and ultimately supporting the listing machine that took the listing in a way that they wouldn't be able to go out and door knock 300 or 400 doors on their own.
Right.
But we have that manpower, and the whole thing, it kind of requires that equilibrium to where we've got to be taking new listings and we've got to have the people supporting those listings. And then it all goes into a really great kind of lead funnel that makes it really lucrative for everybody. And, when we created this, it was, again, just super organic. And we knew that, in order for mine and Molly's team to work, we had to have the support, but we also knew that it had to be really lucrative for the people supporting. Mm-hmm. And so, what we've created is really pretty dynamic in, creating a tribe for us and a community for us where it's good for the individual and the community. But then on a broader spectrum, when we go out into the community, I mean, the people that we try and give to and support, businesses and homeowners and service providers and whatnot that are all a part of the family. It's just been awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. And so everyone from their team is meeting up, and it's usually Thursdays, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually Thursdays, and they all go to this listing. And I've seen, like, you guys have, like, your pop-up tents
out front.
A party. Yeah, it's like a party, and all of their agents grab flyers, and they go door knock. About how many doors would you say?
I mean, anywhere from 200 to 500.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
so they spread out, they go door knock, and they're all involved in this. Okay, how do you get them to do that?
Well, I mean, it's business. It's free leads, so it's a dynamic approach. We don't just go and mindlessly door knock. We go and door knock with intention. And when we go into a neighborhood, I encourage the agents to call contractor service providers, restaurateurs, business owners in that area before even going into the area. So you can actually kind of add people to the Rolodex just before you go in. And every single agent has the opportunity on the team to say, hey, me and my team are going to be going into this area that I saw that you provide service for. Let's call it a lawn care company. And we're going to be door knocking neighborhoods in this area, getting ready for a block party that we're hosting on Thursday night. First of all, you're welcome to come and see what we do. We'd love that. But, if we see an opportunity to send you business, is that okay if we do it? So before we even go door knock, everybody's kind of trained up to build out their SOI or their sphere of influence with these people that we have the opportunity to support.
Wow.
Because we feel like it's really all about giving. Like, how much can we give to our tribe, our community, our sphere? Because the more we do that, the more we get back. So then when we're out door knocking, we have these people kind of in our back pocket. And I'll give you a perfect example. Door knocked a property a few weeks ago in a Mill Creek neighborhood that we were getting ready to host a block party for. And, a lot of times people aren't all that willing to have a conversation with you when you're on their front porch, right? And this guy was no exception. He had opened his door, but had left his storm door closed. And I invited him to the block party. There's no sales pitch when we do that. It's just, hey, come and have a party with us and be the first people to see it. We always, cater it with something fun. We have beverages, and games and whatever. We have a party. And this guy was pretty standoffish, and I'd actually already slipped the invitation under his mat and was kind of walking away by the time he opened his door, and I did the spiel. I invited him, and just wasn't getting anything from him. And I noticed that the steps leading up to his porch cap had sunk a little bit. And in this process of building out my tribe, I've got several people that lift concrete. But I've got my favorite one. And I said, hey, I noticed that your porch cap or your porch steps were sinking. I've got the best concrete lifter guy on the planet. Would you like his number? And immediately the guy's countenance changed. The door opens up. I text him my number. It's just like that connection, right?
Yeah.
So I gave to my concrete lifter guy something that, and I've also given this guy something. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. We try to have local businesses, local restaurants be the people that cater our events. We try to just really support as much as we can, and then of course follow up like crazy. But it's just kind of providing value. And so everybody's always so surprised, to go back to your initial question of how do you get agents to do it. But once you kind of show them like this takes maybe like 3 hours a week, and it's endless opportunities. It's endless opportunities to give to your community, to provide value. There's never been a business that I've called yet, out of the thousands of businesses I've called in my career, that has said, no, I don't want you to send me referrals. I don't want you to send me business. And it's so easy to kind of have that, go. And then people are just really thrilled that we're doing things different. Our sellers are super happy because on a Thursday night, it's not untypical for us to get 150 people through an event on a Thursday night, which there's just nobody else that can say they do that, and it helps our newer agents with their listings because they know that they're going to have the same support of us going out and door knocking for them that they gave to us. And so it really gives every single person an army of agents, a full team behind them when they go into any meeting, any opportunity, knowing we have their back because they have ours. And it's just, I don't know.
When would you rather go door knock by yourself, or would you rather go door knock with a ton of people? Like, let's go,
Yesterday, it was one of those days where I was just like, I do not want to door knock. I'd rather, jump off of a bridge right now. But I knew that these other agents were out there, doing it, and that we were going to have a party tonight that, Chick-fil-A's catering and whatnot. And like, you got to do it. It ended up being one of the cooler door knocking experiences I've had yesterday. We've implemented this new kind of community survey that we do, and I don't know if I want to go too far into that because it's still in beta. It's still in beta. But it ended up being just so rewarding and so incredible, and it's kind of, that's a new wrinkle in where we're asking the community just to provide feedback on how they feel about the place they live, and it's crazy the way people open up too. But anyways, so doing it together is really fun, and we'll do fun stuff like, where if you go out and door knock, we do Friday feasts where, we'll buy you lunch, or, we'll meet at a bar afterwards just to make it a little bit more fun or whatever. And so,
Okay. Yeah. You guys really are a team. Like when you hear a team, like this is what it is. How do you get your agents to sales meetings? And you even have a vibe sesh on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Like you guys do so much And you get people in.
Yeah.
So how do you get people to sales meetings?
Food. Good food. Yeah.
Good food.
Yeah. We always do kolaches or Chick-fil-A burritos. That's an absolute must because, I mean, in my career, if I knew there was going to be a good savory breakfast at sales meeting, I'm 100 times.
Oh, yeah. Savory breakfast guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, I mean, and we try to make it really fun, and we make our sales meetings very specific to what we feel like we're all going through at that given time. There's no higher agenda that's forcing it to us what to say or do. It's what are our agents going through right now, and we know because we're out there door knocking with them. We don't ask anybody to do anything that we don't do, and so we know what everybody's going through, and so we can speak to that specifically. We go and do the same events every week,
right?
So it's. This went really well. This worked. This didn't. How are you following up? What can we do for all of us to capitalize on this person's thing that they're doing? One of our agents is doing tear down. She's a really talented builder agent extraordinaire. And she's doing a tear down on Holiday and right in a very beautiful part of Holiday and doing a new build. And we're constantly thinking as a group, how does everybody benefit from this? Because we can cover way more ground. We can do way more marketing with all 26 of us versus if she was just on her own. So it's all kind of specific to what's going on. And, that same agent presented in sales meeting a couple weeks ago on just what she went through to make it possible for her to do this tear down rebuild. And, it allowed the agents to go, okay, well, this is what I can start looking for in terms of opportunity. And I've got this amazing resource. If I have a client that wants to do something cool, like subdivide or whatever, I mean, Jenny had to create an HOA with a Holiday City in order to be able to make all this happen. She had to pull utilities from like a half a mile. It was just crazy what she went through, but it was also super educational for everybody to give them something else to look for. And so we'll ask our agents that are really good at social media to come and do stuff for us. And it's just all of us kind of have some ownership in making this thing go.
Building each other
up.
Yeah.
And so it makes it a lot easier for, to get people to sales meeting when they know there's going to be relevant, fun information. And it's not always about real estate. I mean, we've recently gone through a pretty rough stretch at our brokerage with some losses of some dear family members and whatnot. And sometimes we've just talked about that. We've just talked about how to do that. And it's a big part of how Vibe Sesh got created.
Actually, that's the one Vibe Sesh that I went to. You guys were talking about how do we support because the people that had recent losses weren't there.
Yeah.
And you guys were talking about like, how can we support them when they come back?
Yeah.
And I'm getting chills just talking about it because I was like, man, you guys just care about each other. Like there's true care there.
Yeah.
And
I think we need to like make sure people understand Vibe Sesh. Vibe Sesh is like, we get together. We kind of have a resident guru, and she usually leads it, and she'll kind of set the intention for the meeting. So like on the one, there was that new moon a few weeks ago or whatever, and we created kind of like a wish list on what to do things, and we'll draw a card, and some agents aren't into it, some aren't, and so it's stuff like that, and it's just kind of helping provide balance for everybody because we know how stressful things can get, and sometimes you need an outlet. So
yeah, I just think it's so incredible how especially as like an outsider looking in, I'm like so impressed by you guys because it really is it's a pain for some brokerages and teams. Like how my agent retention, like how do I keep them? I feel like I'm constantly recruiting,
Yeah.
And so I just love that you guys and you all are so outgoing and warm and fun to be around. So I think easily you just attract the people that are like-minded,
Thanks. Yeah.
So that's so cool. Okay, so let's also talk about so you've got your team, this brokerage. Oh, and then I do want to touch, like when you walk into his brokerage, it's like you're in someone's living room.
It's vibey.
It's so vibey. It's like kind of moody and just like a fireplace is going. There's a beautiful kitchen and a beautiful living area space. Like you don't even feel like you're at an office. You have like a swag closet.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you call it?
It's the vault. But it's our gifting suite.
Okay.
It makes it easy for, you know how often like you see on Facebook that somebody just had a milestone and you want to get them something. We kind of have everything. We have gift baskets, champagne, cards, all the stuff that you can kind of just grab and go and make it really easy to like.
Do agents pay into that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like seeing how that worked out. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We have an agent concierge. It's our marketing person, kind of doubles as our agent concierge, where you can reach out and say, hey, this person just got a job promotion. I want to deliver them a nice little gift basket. Can you do that for me and have it delivered tomorrow? And the agent concierge will go and do that for you. So
that's super sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, we want agents like focusing on relationships and that type of thing, not fixing a sign that blew off on their Harriman listing or whatever. Like agent concierge, we want them going and doing that so that
they can. They have their time for
spend their time on people.
Exactly.
Giving to their community. Yeah.
Okay,
so
I love that. Okay, what is something that you feel like what would you became a new agent, you didn't join a team right away, right?
Right.
So I feel if as a new agent, I think it's so important to join a team because like you said, you enjoyed being at the office. You like going to the office. I think it's really good to have all those conversations and and hear what's going on, especially if you're new. Like this is all like foreign language, and it's like being in a space where there's other people producing and working. I think there's so much to that. So how do you feel about that now? Like for new agents, do you feel like it's good to start at least on a team?
Yeah, I love this question. So I do think that it's extremely important to have mentorship, right? And, I talked about this before. I didn't start on a team, but at no point, my first 6 deals, I always joke, my first 6 deals I didn't do, my office did for me. Like I was so terrified. I was so like, tech averse getting into this, contracts and all this stuff. And I was terrified of making a mistake. So, the agents in my office, those people that I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, like really helped me do every deal. My broker, and I leaned on them so heavily. So I don't think that you need to join a team right away. In fact, I think there is something valuable about you realizing I have to make this because this is an eat what you kill business. Like you're not going to survive if you don't know how to go out and create on your own. Now there are some, loopholes to that. Obviously there are some team leads that kind of funnel stuff off to you and whatnot. But I think if you're really of the mindset and the type of agent that wants to build a community around them, that wants to insulate them from, a bull or bear market to where you always know your people are going to lean on you, just like you're going to lean on your people, which was my mindset. I think that you definitely need mentorship. You definitely need guidance. Does that always fall from joining a team? I don't necessarily think it has to.
Okay.
I think you can join a place that where the door is always open on these agents that want to help. In my career, after I got established, I loved helping new agents. It brought me so much joy and still does. And it's because, I just had no business with my background doing well at this. Like I had no business doing as well as I did in real estate. And I credit all of that to the mentorship that I got. And so I love paying that forward. It brings me so much joy. Like it gets me high. So I think, to answer your question, yes, you need to go to a place with a team mindset. When you're starting out, you need people to show you the ropes. You need people that are willing to answer questions for you, that are willing to show you different ways to look at things, to really show you like, if you get a listing, I tell everybody, what if your buyer never buys and your seller never sells? How do you still profit from this opportunity? And learning how to look at it. It took me a decade to kind of figure out some of these things that are so obvious to me now where, there's so much opportunity and you have to build the business out to where the selling of that listing or that buyer actually finally buying is just the cherry on the top, And so it's a very long-winded way to answer your question. Yes, I do think you need to join somewhere where there's support, there's mentorship opportunities, and it has kind of that collaborative mindset.
Yes.
But does it have to be on a I inked with this person and I'm here, for better or for worse, I don't think you necessarily need to do that.
Okay. Let's talk about social media a little bit.
Okay.
So you do a lot of you on your team do a fantastic job on your social media, and you actually now you're getting like other brokerages, other agents involved in your social media marketing, which is brilliant. I mean, you had people going to a listing, coming up with their own videos, and they couldn't spend any money, right?
Yep.
Yeah, there was some rules around it. You can't spend any money, and you have one going on right now too.
Yeah. So look, we're of the mindset like I need great agents, whether they're hanging out with us or hanging out somewhere else. I need people to take listings so that I can get my buyers through, and I need people to pick up buyers so they can bring them through my listings.
Like what a way to look at it.
Yeah, like we're all in this together.
Yes.
Like, yes, do I want dishonest people out of the industry? Of course. Like every industry wants that. Do I want people that are giving us a bad name out? Yes. But man, we need the great agents in this business to raise the industry as a whole. So we try very hard to let everybody come and take advantage of what we have going on. And so, we did a really fun like social open at one of our listings. And this was kind of when social opens just kind of kicked off, and that was a blast. And in fact, we have 2 people on our team right now because of that. And so
you got some great videos.
Yeah.
I mean, like they look like high production, I mean, so good.
In total on that, we did at one of our listings, we said, just come and shoot whatever you want, headshots, reels, whatever. And the contest was, if you do a reel, whoever gets the most views wins $500.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting, in total of everybody that played along, it was north of 100,000 views on videos that were created from this, which was really exciting. We met a lot of really fun people. We had a bunch of people that just came in and said, I want to do my headshots in here. And that was totally fine. That was part of the deal. So, but it really got exposure for the house. It was a ton of fun doing it. And it was a zero budget marketing effort.
Yes.
So it was super fun. We're doing one right now from a brokerage standpoint. And this has a $5,000 purse on it.
Woo-wee!
So yeah, we basically the game is you got to get together with at least 10 agents from your brokerage. If it's smaller than that, it has to be everybody. Your broker has to play along, and you have to create a reel that explains your value as a brokerage to the public. And if you're zero budget, you can't boost it, you can't bring in some fancy videographer to do it. Just grab an iPhone and some agents and express your value. And if your reel gets the most views, then you get $5,000.
How's that going?
So it's funny.
Yeah.
We've had some weird pushback on it.
Really?
Yeah, like which was surprising. We've had some people that that have said, we're too busy selling real estate to do this or that or whatever. It's been an interesting. It's been interesting, to be honest.
Well, and right now, I think that was such a good subject to have people do videos on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just, it's helping everyone understand real estate agents' values that you guys play, especially with the lawsuit that was just going on. So it's like, I don't see.
Well, if the whole industry is better explaining their value and explaining really what we give to the economy and really what we're capable of accomplishing for our clients, it's going to make it easier for everybody to defend their value, their commissions. We have to get good at that. I think the reason that the public had such an outcry of we want this was just that there was so much unknown about what we do and really how hard we work to make something happen. And I joke with our agents all the time, if people only knew the weight that we carry from, you get to a closing table and how often was it that the client says well, that was just easy as can be. And they have no clue that 3 days ago you were on the phone.
Putting out fires.
Yeah, putting out fires and carrying this stress around and going oh my gosh, you know what? My dearest friend, we were on the verge of losing this deal. He was selling it and I was carrying it all and was just trying to make things happen. And I was communicating with him, but there's those times where you don't want to communicate with them yet because you don't quite know the answer, but you're stressed about something, right? But you can't really tell them yet because your client yet because you don't know which way it's going, and you don't want to start a big thing that might not be anything, and you've got some time there. So this was kind of one of those moments where I was just kind of waiting to communicate with him kind of what was going on. And we were meeting for lunch, and he showed up and he's like, just so you know, I was proactive and I got everything out of my house, got it all loaded into a U-Haul just so that was done. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this might not go. This is, it's like, and it's that type of stuff, right? That like, maybe that's a bad example, but every agent in the game that's done deals knows what I'm talking about when it comes to like what we carry. And my goodness, like if we all just worked a little bit harder on communicating that type of stuff to the public and, behind the scenes fighting appraisals and constantly looking for great service providers, so that you have the best roofer in every area to refer your clients to, it's just like that type of stuff goes unnoticed. And I think if we all got better at explaining that stuff to the public, like how much better would our industry get as a whole, And so we did it. And we've had very little participation and very little like positive feedback from brokerages that we've said, hey, play along.
Yeah, that's just wild to me. Because I just think, well, first of all, your video was awesome. And so I'm like, okay, that's cool. Who does your video? Do you have?
So that one we did the announcement of the game. We did professionally. We still have a video that's coming out that's a zero budget, like playing along to kind of show people and whatnot. But we've kind of turned that down a little bit just because we haven't known if we needed to like explain it better what we were doing. So you can go on to our we didn't know if we needed to explain it better or what. So we just have kind of turned the volume down on that a little bit.
Okay. Wow, that's so interesting because I just thought that was a brilliant idea for not only because there's so much value in collaborating with other agents. If you have a good relationship or you have a good reputation and you're on the other side of a transaction, like what a benefit is that for your client?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I love knowing the agent that I'm working with on the other side. I love being able to communicate to my clients, like, I trust this person that's brought these buyers through. Like, I feel like we're going to get this deal done. Like, I love working with people that I know on the other side, And so, again, building that community of people that are out there moving and shaking. Yeah. Like, I think just can only be a good thing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Let's end it with one question because we're running out of time. But what do you see? What does your future look like in business and in personally, whatever you want to share? What does your future look like?
Yeah. So I want to very meticulously bring like-minded people to our crew. Our system that we've adopted, it requires growth. Like, we have to get more people to support more people, and we have to get more people to get listings to support the system, So I would love to see some very collaborative people join our ranks, right? Like the industry as a whole, I think we're going to get stronger and stronger. I think just like, I was in construction when the recession started, of course, and then got into real estate afterwards, but the best of the best contractors back when the recession hit survived, and it got rid of all the riffraff. And I think there's real opportunity right now. In fact, there's some kind of like nationwide stat that there's half as many agents that renewed.
Yeah, and I think right now I think it's proven itself.
Yeah. And so I think as an industry, the cream has risen to the top and is going to survive and is going to take this to new places. And so I am really excited to be a part of that wave. I'm very optimistic about what the future holds for real estate agents. And, a lot of people would argue that point with me, saying that technology is going to come in and do this and that and AI and everything else. And I just don't think that there's a substitute from a technological standpoint for what we do. And, what I've seen our agents accomplish and the way they've gone about doing things and the way that we've collaborated to get something done, the way we've worked together to accomplish a goal for a client, I just don't think that you can replace that. Now, if you're not hustling, if you're not looking for the opportunities to make things happen, yes, you are very replaceable. If you're not constantly having conversation with your community and looking for opportunities to give to that community, you are replaceable.
Yeah.
Like you will die on the vine. But those agents that know how to build that community around them and give as much or more to that community as what they're asking in return are going to absolutely flourish. And I think our little brokerage is just that a little sample size of what the industry on the whole, especially in Utah, is going to do moving forward. And I think we're going to do really cool stuff.
Well, I can't wait to see it all. It's been awesome watching you guys grow.
Thank you.
So, thank you for being here and joining us. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And I just have to say this because I text him and I had gone into his office. He was in a meeting, so I didn't want to disturb him. And then I text him and I said, "Hey, you were in a meeting. I wanted to ask you if you would be on our podcast." And you responded. I don't even know. You don't know. But you said, "Oh my gosh, you must be a mind reader. I was just thinking I would love to do that with you." And I was like, I know you probably were not thinking about that. But
no, I had that bankrolled. I had copied and pasted that and saved that verbiage, waiting for you to text me so that I could hit a super quick response.
Okay, but you don't know. Like, that made me, like, feel so good. And it was just like, I know he wasn't saying, like, "Oh, I should do a podcast with Tristan." But just the way that you said it, I was like, that is so kind. You know, and that's just who you are, like, really, truly. And to somebody that you really don't know that well. And it's a testament to who you are and how you portray yourself, you know, and it's just you. So I appreciate you for being you. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. Yeah.
So,
this is a ton of fun. I really did want to do this.
Yeah.
You're doing cool stuff.
Was this
I wanted to
your
be part
first
of it.
one or second or third?
Podcast that
Yeah.
I've ever done? This is my first one.
What?
No, that's not true. I did one like 4 years ago with Molly, and I don't even know if it actually got published.
Okay.
I don't even know what
I'm
happened
excited.
with it.
People are getting excited for this. So I'm going to be sending this to a lot of people. So
Cool.
I appreciate you. So thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate, failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.